Just a couple of things. We have right now, I guess, a Malaysian regional multinational, so to speak. I mean, with operations in cross-border. We have someone who's completely global, and we have something. And you have been working in global enterprises and so on. So we've all both had experience of now, sort of, all of you have had experience of working in Malaysia and overseas. What are the things that Malaysian companies can learn about talent management from multinationals? Sarah, first thing.
Well, talent management does not belong to the Human Resources Department. Talent management is a cross-functional effort. Everyone should own it. Everyone who has anyone reporting to them should own it. It's not just, you know, it used to be personnel, and then it's human resources, and everyone should be held accountable for developing their teams. So that's I would say the first thing. And at McDonald's, what we've done is we've created a cross-functional people board. So it has the Vice President of Operations and Franchising, it has the Vice President of Marketing and Communications, myself, Training, Learning and Development, and Human Resources. And we get together and spend 2 days a month just talking about our people. Yeah. And so I think that's a best practice. Okay, so first principle, it's not an HR issue, it's not a personnel department issue, it's everyone who has direct reports are responsible for talent management. First principle. Rajiv, from MNCs, from multinationals, what can we learn?
Well, let me talk a little bit about what we cannot learn, what we shouldn't learn from multinationals. First of all, I have no disagreement about the fact that only 20% of the people can be in the top 20% when it comes to anything. So I don't think there was a disagreement there. I think what point we were making was to find what each person is good at and then give them that opportunity. But in terms of that only 20% can be in the top 20%, 21% cannot be. That we agree with. When it comes to talent management, the standard best practice, if you will, has been something called the 9-box grid, whereby you plot people in performance versus potential. And the ones at the top right hand of the grid, which is high performance and high potential, these people are your top 5%, so to speak, and you give them a special development diet, to your point, that you cannot spend all the money on everybody, because then there's not enough going around. I think, with due respect, that so-called best practice, it's time to ditch it. It's time to rethink it. Why? Because you are anointing somebody today to be a high potential person and therefore a high performing person 3 to 5 years from now and spending a lot of development money on them today. In a world in which things are changing faster than you can say Jack Robinson, what's the guarantee that somebody that you anoint as a high potential today will actually be so 3 years from now, because the world has changed so much? So this idea that you can anoint high potentials today and give them a special development diet, I'm challenging that notion big time. Okay. Instead, I think it's time to give everybody a similar chance. Still with the same amount of money though. You create projects in which anybody and everybody, teams, individuals, can come up and showcase their leadership ability, showcase their innovation, which somehow benefits the company either on the top line or the bottom line, and let the cream rise to the top. At any point of time, you'll know who are the people who are creating value in today's world. And let the cream rise to the top. You are actually opening up talent management and talent development to the whole company without spending extra money, and you're not putting your eggs in one basket only to find 3 years from now that the people we called high potentials at that time are really not so in today's technologically changed world. Okay, so throw them into teams, throw them to projects rather, and let them surface in terms of potential and so on. I would say don't even create projects. Okay. Give them an open invitation. Anybody that has any idea of how to benefit the company, top line perspective or bottom line perspective or anything in between, form a team. Lodge your idea with whoever, and then at some point in the year, present it. Okay. All right. I must say I'm not that familiar with the matrix model that you say that we follow, I guess, in terms of practice, but I'm just wondering, was that, when you were describing it just now, was that what you were following? Yeah, very much so. Very similar model, like you said, to existing versus potential, but even at the top quadrant, and even within the top quadrant, there are few people that are not necessarily the best leaders yet, because there's such things as human people management and so on and so forth. They are very good what they are doing from a subject matter perspective, functional perspective, but not necessarily the best leaders. So there's even a subset of that so-called top quadrant. So commenting to what you just said, however, it's not static.
I mean, if I say static forever, they'll be gifted for the rest of their life, then it's a different issue altogether. But what we're saying is that at any one point in time, these are the people we've chosen for talent. But the trick is to always refresh. And we, as a group, we meet at least twice a year, all the CEOs of the companies together, chaired by myself, HR and talent officer, looking at who else all the time to be put into the group and who else to be kind of, like I said, demoted from the group. So it's a life thing. Now, in terms of opportunity, therefore, people have opportunity. They have to prove themselves. And people who are already there have to prove themselves to stay there, right? And it's a live thing, so it's not static. Back to your earlier question about what we can learn from MNCs. In a way, rightly or wrongly, I'm quite biased because I spent 17 years of my early life in MNC company. And to a lot of extent, what I'm doing on talent has been influenced by companies that I work for, like IBM, companies that I read, I guess by now, 4 or 5 books, which is the GE, and the company I observe a lot, which is Shell, right? So it's amalgamation of that forms most of the thoughts or some of the thoughts I have. But that's what we can learn from them. And however, there's an Asian style to that we have, at least from my perspective, we have to look at. It's what I call leadership from the heart, meaning, we cannot be as cruel as some of this company. We are quote unquote cruel, right? Yeah.
Some examples?
Well, if you look at GE, of course, GE has changed, but before 5%, 7%, you're done, you're gone. From our perspective, correct, but out of that 5-7%, those people who have right attitude, who wants to learn, we give them a chance, right? It's the one who don't have the right attitude, who are actually whiners and all that. Those are the ones that we have zero sympathy. But those who really want to try hard, we have a lot of sympathy. So it's more of that. The second part of leadership by the heart, I'm saying, is that I get to two stories very quickly. There's in real case. We have one very senior people that I know of. Used to be very senior in my previous company and one of the companies I work for. Very, very tough to people. Second guy, similar, who tried to emulate the first guy. About 5 years later, became the country head. The difference, and until today, people still remember the first guy, not the second guy. The difference is the first guy is when he's very tough, you can see that he really mean well. He wants to develop people. The second person, all things being equal, but just do it because he wants the power and the glory of the position. So I think, therefore, the processes MNC are something that we ascribe to, but there must be the human element at the same time, maybe more than perhaps the Western world.
Okay, all right. Is there anything that you've seen that, during your stint in Malaysia, Rajiv as well, from your international, that one could learn? I mean, Dato' Jamal referred to one of the things that's kind of like paternal, a bit of a, you wanted to take care of your employees and not to be so cruel. Is there anything else that, MNCs could learn from sort of, Malaysian companies? Okay, I guess I got the answer. No, I'm just go. Anything? If there's nothing, that's fine. But is there anything the other way around?
I actually do think there is. I mean, we work with a lot of Malaysian companies, and I think the amount of focus that a lot of our clients place on people development, when they place focus on people development, they genuinely mean so.
Okay.
Whereas a lot of companies in the other countries that I've been in, they talk people development, but they don't put their money where their mouth is. Yeah. So I think there is a stronger culture of development in Malaysia. Right. Clearly, I noticed that.
Do any of you is there any contributions out there about what you see it outside in MNCs that you want to see happen in Malaysia more? What do you, in terms of talent management? Any contributions? I'll put one out to you. Sorry, there was a...
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Here.
Yeah, sorry.
So talking a lot about talent development, and in Asia, everyone thinks you have to be in a classroom with a teacher at the front for that to be development. Oh, my company is giving me development because I'm in a classroom, I have a teacher, I'm off for 3 days because I'm taking a class. At McDonald's, that's 10%. That's education. Then there's experience and exposure. And so Asian employees understanding more, being communicated and talked to more about how different experiences on the job are developmental opportunities and how different exposure is also a developmental opportunity. It's not just sitting in a classroom.
Okay, great.